Preacher 357 here, back out here on the range to bring to you another one of my favorite guns from my collection. Not necessarily one of my favorite range guns, but a gun that I was really glad to find when I was able to find it and add it to my collection of revolvers, because whereas I consider myself a shooter, as someone who enjoys getting out and shooting, I'm also something of a collector when it comes to revolvers, especially Smith & Wessons. And so there's some models that I want just because I want them, not necessarily because they're great range guns necessarily, or that I'm going to carry them, or that I have any practical use for them. And one of those is the Smith & Wesson Model 36, also known as the Chief Special. Now, the Chief Special came out in 1950. It was not the Model 36 at that time. The numbering did not start until around 57. And so it was just the Chief Special is what it was called. And it is their J-frame. This was the first J-frame. We often hear about J-frame Smith & Wessons now. And they are the pocket guns. They are the small revolvers for carry. And you're all familiar with Smitty. I've got Smitty out here too. You can see Smitty here and the Model 36 together, and you see there's a lot of similarities there. You could say that the Model 36 is Smitty's granddaddy for the most part. It's the predecessor. This is where all of the modern J-frames came from originally. The J-frame came out in 1950, and it was essentially a beefed up I-frame. An I-frame is an obsolete frame size. They do not make the I-frame any longer and have not made it in about 60 years now, maybe a little more. I can't remember exactly what year they did away with the I-frame and made all of those models into J-frames, and pretty much all of those models have fallen by the wayside anyway now, and that they were in calibers that are just no longer popular. There's just not a lot of people who are looking for, 32 Smith & Wesson, or for 38 Smith & Wesson, not 38 Special, not 38 Smith & Wesson Special, but 38 Smith & Wesson. And the I-frame had been chambered in those calibers, in 32 and 38. And Smith & Wesson was wanting a gun that would be able to chamber the 38 Special, which was a more powerful round. And the I-frame was just not quite beefy enough for the extra power of the 38. And so what they did was they beefed it up. They increased the size of it slightly, and they increased the size of the top strap, beefed it up some as well, and they came out with the J-frame in the Chief's Special. Now, from the Chief Special, you would get other models like the 37, which is the Chief Special Airweight, which would be the aluminum alloy frame, which, Smitty is an aluminum alloy frame, so that's where that came from. It started there with the Model 37 and the Model 38, which was what they call the bodyguard, or the shrouded hammer version. The Model 40, which was a hammerless or concealed hammer version like Smitty, except it had a grip safety. It was what they call a lemon squeezer. And the Model 42 as well. And so you had all of these different models that were then built on the J-frame after the Model 36 came out. So this was the predecessor. This was the prototype. This is where it all started. And this was a very popular gun for law enforcement. And, I think Smith in some ways was trying to compete with Colt as well. Colt had their Detective Special, which is a little bit bigger gun. The Detective Special is the same size as the Colt Cobra. The Colt Cobra was actually originally a alloy frame Detective Special. Of course, the new Colts are actually, steel frames, but they are 6-shot cylinders, whereas the J-frames are smaller, and they are 5 shots. So the Detective Special, the Colt, is somewhere in between the J-frame and the K-frame, which would be like the Model 10. So they made a smaller revolver, which was easier to conceal, easier to throw in a pocket. And it became very, very popular as a gun for detectives, or for, plainclothes officers, or as a backup gun. And, they sold a lot of these things over the years. And then in 1965, a new version of the Chief Special came out, and it was the Chief Special Stainless, the Model 60, which is the exact same gun as this, only it's in stainless steel. Now, as of 1996, there were some changes made. If you buy a Model 60 now, it's not the same as this, because this is a 38 Special. If you buy a Model 60 now, it's a 357 Magnum. In 1996, they created the Magnum J-frame, or the J-frame Magnum, J-Magnum frame, however they term that. And they beefed it up even more. And Smitty is also, though he's an alloy frame, Smitty is actually on that Magnum frame. So he's a little bit larger, a little bit more beefy. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it comes through on the camera, but you can tell if you look at him that it's been elongated. The cylinder has been elongated, and it's been beefed up a little bit in the top strap in order to be able to chamber 357 Magnum in some of those revolvers, such as the Model 640, the 649, the Model 60, obviously. And so if you buy a Model 60 now, it's not the same as the Model 36. It is a beefier gun that chambers 357 Magnum now. As far as I know, they still do make the Model 36, though now it is on the J-frame Magnum frame. It's part of their classic collection. Now, there's going to be some differences. Besides that change in frame size, obviously this has a pinned barrel. They don't do that any longer. Haven't done that in a long time. This model is from 1969. That's when this one was made. Now, it's not recessed. People talk about pinned and recessed. The 38 Specials were not recessed. It was only the Magnum calibers that were recessed like that. But this one has the firing pin on the hammer. They don't do that any longer. Now they all have floating firing pins, frame-mounted floating firing pins. And so if you get a classic model 36 now from Smith & Wesson, it's going to have that floating firing pin. So the hammer is going to look different. It's not going to have a pin on it. It's also going to have a different type of cylinder latch on it. I think they make them where they look similar to this now, but I think they are MIM, just like what you have on Smitty here. And so there's been a few changes made. If you buy the Model 36 now in that classic line, it's going to be a little bit different. But they're still making it as far as I know. I haven't heard that they've discontinued it. And this one here, it's got a little bit of wear to it. There's a little bit of bluing loss. When I bought it, I gave more than I wanted to for it, but I've been looking for one for a while. And it had a little bit of surface rust on it, and I thought it was just surface rust. I thought I could get it off without causing any problems whatsoever. But there's a few places here where I have bluing loss from that because it was a little deeper than what I thought on first inspection. But it's still a pretty nice revolver, you know, to be 50-something years old. So I'm not going to complain about that. I did have to add a little bit of white sight paint to the front sight because this black on black I cannot see at all, especially later in the day like now when we're in the shadows and we're not in direct sunlight. If you're not familiar with shooting videos, direct sunlight is very hard to film in. You get a lot of glare. I have to run some pretty strong ND filters, neutral density filters on the camera to filter out a lot of that extra light because it's too much. It just washes everything out. So sometimes I have to film in direct sunlight depending on what time I'm filming and what time I have available when I'm trying to fit in a filming. But I prefer to wait till later in the day when I've got some shadows like this right here. But when I do that, then it's a lot harder to see black on black sights. So I had to put a little sight paint on there to have any hope of maybe hitting with this thing. And to be honest, this is not the easiest gun to shoot. These grips are original, so I keep them on there, but they're not that comfortable. Maybe it needs a Tyler T grip. A lot of people put those on with these. Honestly, the trigger is not that great. Smitty's double action trigger is much better than this one. Of course, I do have the single action option with this. But I'm going to shoot a little bit with it, throw a little bit of lead down range, just have a little bit of fun with it and kind of let you see it in action. And not going to take too much time today, and then I'll let you guys go. But before we do that, don't forget to check out the description in this video. There'll be a link there for the Gun Owners of America. a discounted link there so you can join up, donate to them, help support the cause of gun rights so that we can always have the ability to come out to the range like this and enjoy throwing some lead down at the steel targets here. Or if you're a member of the GOA already, there are other organizations as well, like the Tennessee Firearms Association if you live in Tennessee. If you're in this great state that I live in, the Tennessee Firearms Association, the TFA, needs all the help they can get as well. You know, there's always someone trying to attack our rights, and we have a lot of rights we still need to resecure. You know, we're a red state. We've had a supermajority on the right in power, and yet, despite all the rhetoric that you hear from those on the right quite often about supporting the Second Amendment, we don't have all of our rights secured the way we should. So they're still working really hard to do that, and if you live in Tennessee, click on that link, join up for the TFA as well. So I appreciate it, guys. Let me put some rounds in here, and then we'll sling a little lead. I'm going to be shooting my hand loads. A lot of times with new guns especially, I don't like to shoot hand loads, though it's not as big a deal in a revolver, obviously, because you don't have to worry about you know, the action working. You don't have to worry about it cycling or being reliable. Generally speaking, as long as you can fit it in the cylinder, it's going to turn and fire as long as it can hit the firing pin. So I'm not usually that worried about hand loads in that, but with a gun this old, I don't think we have to worry about whether this is reliable or not, or whether you're, you know, need to be trusting something this old. This thing has a track record already. Nothing I do here today is going to disparage the Model 36. You know, it's tried and true, so I'm not worried about it. If we do have a light primer strike or something, more than likely it's just the primer, it's just my hand load is going to be the problem. So let's do a little bit of shooting now. I'm not even going to bother with that 80-yard plate. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, there's no reason for me to even try to lob anything over there with this. I am not good enough with this gun, and I don't practice with it enough. I'll just be honest with you. I shoot Smitty quite a bit, but this gun feels different than Smitty in the hand, and I don't practice with it very much. It's more just something from my collection than something I really shoot a lot. So I couldn't even tell you the last time I pulled the trigger on this and shot around. It's been at least a year, I would guess. But let's do a little shooting. I've been talking enough, I guess, already. Let's see if I can hit anything with it at all. Maybe a no there. Yeah, let's see where we're going. I'm not sure. Let's try the cowboy. Try the cowboy again. All right, I hit him there. Guess I'm gonna have to try some single action first until I get an idea of what I'm doing. That double action pull is really heavy on this gun. I mean, it's not so bad I can't shoot it, but it's not as pleasant to shoot as Smitty is. Let me go out here one more time. Let me shoot this 12-inch plate one more time. Single action, see what we're doing here. Hold dead center. Let me hold low. Let me hold high. I have no idea. Well, I'm hitting the cowboy. That was all she wrote there. Well, I'm really not sure where it's going. Seem to be able to hit the cowboy with it, though. When I said I didn't shoot it very well, I wasn't expecting not to hit the 12-inch plate. I don't remember that ever really being a problem. Let me see again here. No. Where is it going? Huh. Going to the right? I tell you what, guys, I'm gonna have to put this on paper and try to figure out where this is going before I do any more shooting. So just hold on real quick. All right, guys. Let me put some on paper here and just see. I don't know. This is this round projectile I've got here that I'm loading, this round nose, I don't know, it may not like it, because I kind of got the feeling even Smitty didn't like it very much. That you know, the contour, the profile of the bullet may be such that it's just not stabilizing enough in this little bitty short barrel here. So let's just shoot a little bit here and see what we get. Let's see where that even went. See where those went. Well, they seem to be going a little bit to the right, but they're not that bad off. Let me try a different profile of bullet and see if I get a little bit better accuracy with this. See if maybe that has something to do with it. These are 158 grain semi-wad cutters. So let's try this one more time and see if we get any better, any different results. Still really hard to see this sight. Let's check it one more time here. That definitely looks like a better grouping. I mean, it's still not, you know, all going in one hole, but I'm gonna try these rounds instead, because I think they're stabilizing a little bit better than those round nose. And let's just see if we do any better with these. If not, I may just have to give up. Having to aim just a little bit high and to the left. And those seem to be hitting now. Let's try her again. Maybe I've got her down now. I mean, honestly, this gun was not designed to shoot at 20 yards, so I can't be too upset that it's not doing that well at 20 yards. Well, there we go. May not ever hit this one. Maybe I should have put the camera up closer and moved my table and all that just for this gun. But that's all right. See if I can hit this one out at 35. See if I can figure that out. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I'm struggling so much with these. Just throw a few more down here. Maybe we'll call her a good. It's kind of strange. I can hit the one at 35 now. That's a bigger target, obviously. But struggling to get these red plates. There we go. just having to use some Kentucky windage and figure it out. But I've kind of got it figured out a little bit now. Oh, why not one more cylinder? Wasn't planning on making this a long video. May have already failed at that, but let's just shoot a little bit more. The single action trigger on this is pretty good. The double action is not, though. And a lot of that just may be because I haven't shot it a lot. I don't know if the people that owned it before me, because obviously I didn't buy it in 1969. I wasn't quite born yet. Almost. But I don't know how much it was shot. Smitty obviously has been shot a lot. That's why his trigger is so good. But let me try some double action again here. I mean, it's heavy. Went low on that one, didn't I? Can't figure it out, double action. It would definitely help if I had a better grip on this thing. These little bitty magnas are just not conducive to shooting well. But let's try just a little bit more here. Well, that's all she wrote. I really don't know anything else to tell you about this gun. I mean, I love the little thing, even if I can't shoot it worth nothing. And the only way I'm ever going to be able to shoot it is just come out here and shoot it all the time. And to be honest, it's not that fun to shoot, so not going to carry it. There's not really much reason for me to come out here and put a lot of time into it, to be honest. I bought this pretty much to sit in the safe and for me to just know I've got a Model 36. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you may think that's the dumbest thing you've ever heard. That's the way some of us guys are when it comes to collecting things. And I've been bad about collecting things. I mean, I don't know if I'm a collector or a hoarder, but there's been a lot of things over my life I've collected. So I've got a lot of stuff building up in my house from all my collecting. But I don't plan on stopping collecting guns anytime soon. But here's a Model 36. Really like the little gun, even if I can't shoot it. But I appreciate you guys coming out. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.